My name is Daisy Parker. I'm 40 years old and I have no children from my second marriage. My husband is a thoughtful man who never skips our monthly dates, no matter how hectic his schedule gets. He always keeps his promises. I know I shouldn't compare him to my first husband, but I have never regretted my divorce, nor have I regretted getting remarried. This month is our 8th wedding anniversary. My husband had reserved a table at a fancy restaurant with a view of the sea. I thought we were going to have a wonderful time, but then I ran into the last person I wanted to see. It was Leo Thomas, my ex-husband from 10 years ago. We were about to leave the restaurant after finishing our meal when my husband excused himself to go to the restroom. I was admiring the ocean view from the window. What a beautiful view! As I gazed at the sea, I reminisced about the times my husband and I had spent looking at the ocean together. Just then, I heard someone call my name. When I turned around, there he was. "Hey, what's so beautiful? Do you think a regular ocean appears nice to someone like you, who's pretty much broke?" Leo sneered. "Leo, hey, long time no see. Why are you?" I stammered. "Why? I'm the one who should be asking you why," Leo replied, sitting down in the chair my husband had been using, looking at me as if I was a joke. "Yes, those eyes. I put up with those eyes for a whole decade of our marriage. I never thought I'd run into you here. Can someone like you, who doesn't have much money, really eat at a fancy place like this? Can you even afford it, or are you here for a once-in-a-lifetime thing?" "It's our wedding anniversary," I replied. "Ah, I see. Poor people can only come to places like this on anniversaries, huh? I come here often, you know. You're still pathetic." "Isn't there someone with you?" he asked. "Yeah, there is. I just sent her to pay, you know." "Handling money is a woman's job," Leo said smugly. I thought to myself, he's still the same, always belittling women. "Ah, she's back. Just wait." The woman who came back was his lover from 10 years ago. She had aged quite a bit, her beauty half of what it used to be, and she looked worn out from life. I guess Leo has been living it up while his wife suffers. "You're still wearing shabby clothes, aren't you? Aren't you embarrassed to dress so poorly?" Leo continued, his words making me feel sick. I turned my gaze toward the restroom, hoping my husband would return soon, and there he was. He had been watching us for a while as I was talking to another man. Seeing the confusion on my face, he approached us. "Excuse me, do you need something for my wife?" my husband asked. "Your wife? This woman is your wife?" Leo asked in disbelief. "Yes, what do you need?" my husband responded calmly. "You also look poor." "I guess poor women always remarry poor men." "Please, don't be rude. My husband is a very respectable man," I replied. Leo snorted in disapproval at my response. You must be just a useless, broke man then," he sneered, glaring at my husband. I thought to myself, this man really hasn't changed at all. Leo was very selfish. Although he worked for a major corporation, it was unclear if he was competent. He was good at sucking up to his boss, though. He blamed his mistakes on his juniors and loudly claimed their achievements were due to his guidance. How he managed to climb the corporate ladder is beyond me, but by the time we divorced, he had become a manager. Leo claimed he was an elite employee, but I never thought of him as elite. "I graduated from a prestigious university," Leo would always brag. Not just any university, but a very different kind from the ordinary ones. When I was only dating him, I believed his exaggerated stories and thought he was really smart. But when we got married, I discovered that was his only real talent. He consistently degraded me. "Your parents were too poor to send you to university, right? But it's good for you. You didn't have the brains for it anyway. If your family had been rich, you would have had to go to university. But it would have been impossible for someone as stupid as you," he would say. "My family wasn't poor. I just wanted to start working sooner rather than going to college," I once tried to explain. "Ah, enough with the excuses. You can't handle not making excuses, right?" You're an incompetent woman, after all. It's good for women, isn't it? Even if they're incompetent or stupid, as long as they have good looks, they can get by. If they catch a competent man, they can live well, he would retort. I never imagined he would say such things before we married, so his transformation after marriage shocked me. Moreover, his parents weren't wealthy landowners. His father was just a director, yet Leo ruthlessly looked down on anyone he considered poor. You really can't do anything right. You're bad at cooking, you can't clean, and you can't even have kids. Marrying you was a huge mistake, he would say. It wasn't a physical issue that prevented me from having kids, it was the stress caused by Leo. My family has always valued frugality and cherishing what we have. But when I cooked with radish leaves to save money, he yelled, "Are you trying to feed me trash?" and threw them in the trash. It made me realize how fundamentally different we were. One day, he told me he had a lover, a woman much younger than he was. He pushed for a divorce, saying it was better for him to remarry a younger woman. I was happy to divorce such a man. I signed the divorce papers. "Who is this man, Daisy?" my current husband asked. "He's my ex-husband, Leo Thomas," I replied. "Oh, I see," he said. Of course, I had told my husband about everything Leo had said and done to me. It had been a painful 10 years, and I had shared it all with tears. Then, without saying anything, my husband just listened and finally said, "Let's be happy from now on." Leo sneered, "You really dared to marry such a woman like her? Since you're marrying a woman from a poor family, you must be a broke guy too." "Well, maybe, maybe not. Of course you are. So you're also a broke man, huh?" "What? Marrying a poor person means you're broke too, am I right? But why did you divorce such a wonderful person?" "Wonderful? Your eyes must be fooling you. Truly wonderful means having a beautiful wife like mine." He indicated his wife as he pointed at her, who stood there looking embarrassed. "Is that woman your wife?" my husband asked. "Yes, she's beautiful, isn't she? She's actually my boss's daughter." Marrying the boss's daughter definitely helps one climb the career ladder faster. Marrying a broke woman like you probably means you're just a regular employee. Too bad. "A regular employee? I haven't heard that word in years," my husband replied calmly. "What are you trying to prove? A bottom-tier guy marrying a bottom-tier woman. It just means you'll both be broke for the rest of your lives. And you think you deserve to eat in such a fancy restaurant like this? Well, this level of restaurant isn't a problem for us." "Yeah, sure, if that's what you think," Leo sneered. Just then, a waiter passed by, and my husband pulled out a black card, instructing him to settle the bill. Leo, surprised by the black card, tried not to show it but snorted again. "Is that a black card? Showing off a card like that here? You're not used to it, are you? You must have borrowed it from someone. Showing off by flashing the card, but later you'll have to pay back the person who lent you that card, right? I can imagine you're scared to splash the cash in such a place. It's all part of your act, huh? Funny thing to say. Who would lend their card, I wonder? No matter how naive someone is, they wouldn't lend their card." "How would you know that, Leo?" "You shouldn't say such insulting things," I interjected. "What's insulting? I'm just stating the truth. There's no way you could be wealthy if you married a poor woman like her." "My wife is poor, you say?" "Yes, that's right. Her folks' place is a rundown, one-floor home. You know that, right? Or maybe you were too embarrassed to visit her home, so you went to a family restaurant instead. Meeting her parents at a family restaurant for a marriage proposal is unheard of, but for poor people like you, it's probably the norm." "Family restaurant, huh? The fact that you thought of that means you must have done your greeting there, right? If you hadn't experienced it yourself, you wouldn't have thought of it." "What are you talking about? I'm not short on money. I wouldn't do such a miserly thing." "Yet you came up with it. I never would have thought of that. Right, Daisy?" "Well, I think I'd like to go to a family restaurant occasionally, but we rarely get the chance," I responded. Exactly. What? You're lying. When you were with me, you were happy to go to family restaurants. That's because I had never really been to one before, I explained. Oh, I bet. You sure talk big. Coming to such a fancy restaurant just makes you want to act all important. Maybe that's you. It seems like you don't fit in this kind of place, Leo sneered. What? You seem out of place, don't you think? I retorted. There's no way I'm out of place. You're the one who doesn't fit in here. Do you even know who I am? Leo challenged. Why would I know you? If you want me to remember you, just become famous, I replied coolly. I am well known, though. Well, it's impossible for a regular employee like you to know me, I guess, Leo scoffed. What? I'm a manager, not a regular employee, he added smugly. Manager? Yes, how about that? Impressive, isn't it? He continued. At that moment, the chauffeur arrived, greeted us politely, and informed my husband, Sir, your car is ready. Thank you, my husband responded. Huh, what's going on? Oh, well, you're probably just the president of some small company. I work for a major corporation, the Holmes Group, and I'm a manager there, Leo boasted. Oh, you're still just a manager? Excuse me, you consider yourself top tier, but staying as a manager at your age won't bring any advancement, my husband replied. What? What? Leo stammered, shocked. This man works at our company? My husband asked. Yes, he's been with our company for a long time, I answered. What? What do you mean, our company? You talk big, but you're just an office lady from a small company, Leo sneered again. That's right. I don't have kids or any reason to quit my job, I replied. So, you can't have kids? I was right. You can't have kids. Something's wrong with you, Leo spat out. Hey, there's a line to how rude you can be. Daisy is perfectly fine. If she's fine, why can't she get pregnant? Women are supposed to have kids, my husband defended me. I don't need to explain that to you. You can't say it because it would prove there's something wrong with her. This man is hopeless, I remarked, frustrated. Yes, so bad it's beyond saving, my husband agreed. This man's name is Leo Thomas, my husband confirmed. Yes, I understand, I replied. He's fired. Daisy, please contact HR, my husband instructed. Okay, I responded. What? What are you saying? Trying to shock me with that? What company's president are you? Do you think you can fool me with such an obvious act? Are you stupid? Leo fumed. Leo, my husband, is the president of the Holmes Group, I stated firmly. What? That can't be, Leo exclaimed. However, the driver, with a look of pity, nodded as he looked at Leo. What? Seriously? Is he really our president? Leo asked, now in disbelief. Yes, and I am his wife and the vice president of our company, I affirmed. What? That's ridiculous. How could Daisy, from a poor family, end up as vice president with just a high school diploma? Leo questioned. Such things don't matter. Whether someone graduated from high school or college doesn't determine their worth, my husband replied calmly. That's ridiculous, Leo muttered, still in shock. I will never forgive anyone who insults my wife, my husband declared. No, there's a union, Leo stammered, grasping for something. Yes, there is a union. The union will protect us employees, he added, trying to defend himself. You're a manager, right? Managers are not union members, so you are not protected by the union. Didn't you know that? My husband asked pointedly. Seriously? Leo stuttered. Well, you better brace yourself. Since you insulted my wife, you must face the consequences, my husband stated firmly. Oh no, Leo whispered, a stunned look on his face. But my husband didn't care and simply asked me if we should go. Then we left the table. That night, perhaps bothered by the afternoon's events, Leo called. His attitude was completely different from his earlier arrogance. Daisy, it's been a while. What do you mean? We'd already had a talk this afternoon, Leo. Ah, yes. What can I do for you? Your dismissal hasn't been issued yet, right? You guys were just joking, right? Huh? What do you mean about me being the vice president and my husband being the president? No, they're all true. I'm surprised you don't know who your own company's president and vice president are. Why would you be the vice president, though? Because the best way I can help my husband is from the vice president's position. No, but it's strange. Why would a high school graduate be the vice president? It's not strange at all. I only graduated high school because I wanted to start working early, but after we separated, I acquired a college degree. Oh, really? Yes, there are schools you can attend from home, so you really are the president's wife. Yes. How did you manage to marry the president? When did you get married? We got married after I divorced you. I met the president soon after, and we dated for about 2 years before getting married. Married? Why would the president take an interest in someone like you? Stop being so rude. Oh, sorry. Connections are mysterious, aren't they? I just happened to meet the president. Even so, why would he marry someone broke like you? Is he a philanthropist? No one marries for charity. If he's not a philanthropist, did he marry you to make you his slave? It's odd otherwise. Maybe today you got lucky to be taken to a fancy restaurant, but usually you must be having plain, poor meals, right? Living a difficult life where you can't even buy what you like, am I right? Why would you think that? That's not true at all. You're the only one who would do such a thing. There's no way you could marry such a rich man. Why do you think so? Rich people have connections with politicians and other wealthy people. If a poorly raised woman like you shows up at their parties, it would embarrass the president. Or maybe he lets his mistress attend those instead. You're making wild assumptions. If you keep looking down on me like this, you'll truly regret it. I'm just concerned for you. A woman with a poor upbringing like you marrying a rich man like the president will only suffer. A regular employee's husband would suit you better. Marrying someone richer than me, you must be a foolish woman. Who can't see ahead? Who's the fool here? If you called just to say that, I'm hanging up. No, wait, I'm not trying to look down on you. It's just true that you come from poverty that can't be helped. Thinking I'm looking down on you for that is completely wrong. You say I come from a poor family, but my father is wealthy. Your family is poorer than mine. I didn't say it back then because of your pride, but your family home isn't even half the size of mine. Your father is just a department head and you're still just a manager. That's not true. When I proposed to you, you were living in a small single-story house. That was because we were renovating our home then. We had stored all our belongings elsewhere. It was just a temporary residence. No need to move to a big house, my mother said. That can't be true, Leo insisted. You don't have to believe it, but since the renovation is finished, even if you say you want to visit my parents at home, you've stubbornly refused to go again. I couldn't tell you the truth. Who would visit such a poor, run-down house? You really are hopeless. Then I'll send you a picture. This is my family home. The photo I sent was of a large mansion. That's my house. I lived there for a while after our divorce, I continued. What? That can't be true, Leo stammered. It's true. If this is true, then why were you working as an office lady in a small company? If you're so rich, you wouldn't need to work. And if you did work, wouldn't it be at a large corporation? Indeed, my father is the president of a major company. That company was a new one he started. When it was time to decide who would be the president, it was decided that my brother would take the role, so I volunteered to handle the administrative work. Now, that company has advanced to the top of the industry. Is that true? Were you really so rich? Leo asked, bewildered. Yes, this is the truth. This is the real me that you used to look down on. So that's why you could marry the president. That's not it. I met the president because we shared the same hobbies. We met through our hobbies and hit it off. He didn't know I was the daughter of a wealthy family, and I didn't know he was the president. So you are at the company where I work because of that? How long have you been at that company? I joined the company right after our divorce. I had a connection by chance. Why? When you were with me, you were a clerk at your brother's company, and after we divorced, you changed jobs. That's right. My brother's company has grown so much, and he told me it was time to do what I love. So I thought I might as well pursue what I've always wanted to do. Then, just as a senior position became vacant, they headhunted me. But at that stage, I still had no acquaintance with the president. He was still someone high above. I don't understand. How can you have connections like that? So, rich people just connect with other rich people. That's why I'm saying those things don't matter. Why do you think like that? It's because of that mindset that you're still just a manager, I replied. I wonder why your wife hasn't gotten tired of you yet, I remarked. She can't get tired of me. I'm supporting her, Leo replied smugly. Keep it up with that attitude, and you'll get what's coming to you. Anyway, that's the situation, so stop belittling me already, I snapped. I wasn't trying to belittle you. I really thought you were poor, Leo said defensively. About that dismissal you mentioned this afternoon, I began. Oh yes, your dismissal. After all the mocking you did, it's only natural you'd be dismissed, I continued. That would put me in a tough spot. Can you talk to the president so I don't get fired? Leo pleaded. What? You were just mocking me tremendously, and yet you asked not to be dismissed? That's impossible. You know, I have nothing but resentment towards you. Why? The fact that you don't think you're resented is truly astonishing. What have I done to you? Leo asked, bewildered. There's too much to even remember. It's that much. I bet your wife thinks the same as me. Why don't you ask her what she really thinks? Though I doubt she'll tell you, I replied coldly. I only said those things because I thought you were poor. Why do you think I'm mocking you when I'm just being honest? Leo tried to justify himself. Once words are spoken, they can't be taken back, you know. You should understand that as an adult. I do understand that, Leo admitted. Then you should understand why you're being dismissed, right? I pressed. No, I don't understand at all. Please, I'll be in trouble if I'm dismissed. If it were just about this afternoon, the president might have overlooked it, but then you had to call and ask why this and why that. My husband is here now, frowning. He really thinks you're hopeless. Maybe you should just give up. There's no saving you. No, if the president is right there, why can't you just say so? It's only natural for a husband and wife to be together. Besides, you didn't ask if someone was with me, did you? That's true, but you've poured gasoline on your own fire. You mocked not just me, but my parents and my husband too. Look, I didn't think you'd get this angry. Please forgive me. If I had known you were a wealthy lady, I wouldn't have said such mocking things. I won't say them again. Please forgive me. Just give up. I think your dismissal order will come down tomorrow. Wait, please. Leo's voice echoed on the other end of the phone, but I hung up and looked at my husband. The next day, Leo came to the president's office. His face was all white with dark circles under his eyes, and he seemed to be in really bad condition. I was in a meeting with my husband, the president, discussing business matters when I was startled by Leo's appearance. Leo, what's wrong? I asked. I'm very sorry, Leo apologized as he sat down on the spot. Leo, what are you doing? Please, just don't fire me, he pleaded. What do you mean? I questioned, confused. Of course, the president knew about yesterday's conversation. He had guessed from my responses during the call, and I had detailed Leo's remarks after hanging up. Therefore, his impression of Leo was very poor, and his anger was even greater than mine. I am truly sorry. Again, I didn't know your wife was from a wealthy family. I think she is a perfect match for the president's wife. I also heard she graduated from university, even if it was through correspondence. She's a hard worker, a far cry from my own wife, Leo admitted. So you decided on her as your wife and then got rid of her, right? The president asked. What? Leo looked up at the president, wondering how he knew such a thing. Of course, I've told my husband everything. We're married, after all. Or do you and your wife not talk about your pasts? I interjected. No, it's not like that, but that was a long time ago. I was young then. I thought Daisy was just a poor man's daughter, so I thought it was okay to have a mistress, Leo confessed. How does it come to that? Is that why you think it's okay to commit sexual harassment or power harassment? The president asked, his tone firm. What do you mean? Don't tell me you haven't done it. There are complaints from your female coworkers. They say if our company doesn't handle it, they'll go to the police. Our company was just discussing what to do about it when your disrespectful remarks came yesterday. It's really hopeless, isn't it? The president continued. That's right. I wouldn't have thought you were actually harassing or bullying, but watching you yesterday, it seemed all too true. You don't even regard women as people, do you? You think they're below you, I added. No, I never. Leo began to protest. Even if that were true, firing me would be too harsh. Please show some mercy. Well, indeed, you have a family. If you were fired, you wouldn't be the only one in trouble, Leo pleaded. That's right, exactly, my husband replied, smirking as he looked at me. So what do you think, Daisy? How about sending Leo to our Ohio branch? Wait, what? The Ohio branch, Leo stammered. Yes, it's in a region with very few people. It's practically unsustainable as a company. The former president, who came from that town, established the branch there to help the local people, but it's a lonely place with just one employee. The previous employee reportedly went mad from the loneliness. We want you to turn that branch around in 3 years. If you can do that, we'll bring you back here. Of course, if you can't, you'll spend your retirement in Ohio, the president explained. Thank you, I appreciate it, Leah replied, reluctantly accepting his fate. Under the guise of the president's mercy, Leo set off for the Ohio branch. But both my husband and I knew it was an impossible task. Having to work tirelessly alone for the small number of town residents, it was obvious that there wouldn't be any profit to be made. Unaware of this, Leo moved to the branch, all motivated. His transfer was with his mistress, who had been his wife, but surely she wouldn't be satisfied with just the cold and nothing else there. Eventually, she reached her limit. His salary plummeted, and despite being the branch manager in name, his pay was minimal, leading his wife to start yelling. This resulted in daily arguments, and although he boasted that if he turned things around in 3 years, he could return to the head office, his city-bred wife couldn't believe his words. She left the divorce papers and went back to the city. Leo tried his best for a year, but no matter how hard he worked, the population wouldn't increase and no profits would come. Eventually, he realized that no amount of effort here would change anything, and one day he submitted his resignation. After leaving the company on his own terms, Leo contacted his wife, but by then she had found someone new. Leo was not only ignored by her, but was beaten up by her new man and ended up in the hospital. After being discharged, Leo looked for a job, but at his age, he found nothing and life became harder for him. He lived in a shabby, run-down apartment, and the only job he could find was as a nighttime store clerk. The man who had once boasted of graduating from a prestigious university now stood alone in a store at night. As for me, I continued to be protected by my kind husband, enjoying another wonderful date this month. Marrying him changed my life so much. I'm grateful that Leo and I divorced.